I am Fernanda Guliac, Executive Director of Fundación ReachingU. I welcome you to the closing broadcast of our second global online campaign. Today, we'll have the honor of having Sergio Fogel as our special guest. Sergio is co-founder and director of dLocal, the first Uruguayan company to become a unicorn by reaching a $1 billion valuation. He will be talking with Beatriz Ponce de León, Director and Chief Strategy Officer of Arbusta, and also a member of the Board of Directors of Fundación ReachingU. Today, we're committing a week of actions and activities for Uruguayan education. Thank you to everyone who joined us from all over the world to support millions of kids and teenagers in Uruguay. I'll thank the sponsors again, Black sponsors, Ana Maria and Stephen Kellen Foundation, Fogel Family, Platinum sponsors, John and Maria Pfeffer, sponsors, Bering Foundation and Proskauer, Gold sponsors, Big Sur partners, Familia Levitin Zafra, Silver sponsors, Puente Uruguay, SC Johnson Uruguay, Ambassador Frank Baxter and Catherine Baxter, Bronze sponsors, Gregor and Beatrix Menninger, Estudio Seinal, Evertech, Exacta, Altis Group, Da Vinci Trusted Partners, and with the support of Sarvieri Monsuarez and Juan Diego Vecino Arquitectos. A very special thank you to Fundación ReachingU's Board of Directors, who again this year will donate an extra $1 for every dollar raised in the campaign. There is $150,000 pledged to double every dollar we receive donated this week. I also want to thank the army of people that work backstage and make this campaign possible. The staff and volunteers that are in Uruguay and in the United States, thank you, all of you. I now welcome the Fundación ReachingU Chairman of the Board, Pablo Spiller, who joins us today from New York. Good afternoon, Pablo.
Good afternoon, Fernanda, and to all those who are following this transmission from wherever you may be. I join you and I thank all of that army you mentioned of volunteers and all of the staff who has supported us throughout this week and in this campaign, all of the partners in the board of directors, the sponsors, the companies, and everyone who has supported us work during these months. The organizing committee that has been formed by volunteers in many cities around the world were responsible for the bid. And as we have seen, it's been really a pleasure. So thank you so much for your great work. Thank you to all the artists, the companies, the personalities who have donated works, products, and services to make this bid possible. This auction has at least 200 lots for which you can bid until today, Thursday 28 at 10 p.m. Uruguay time or 9 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time.
Como les hemos mencionado durante todo lo largo de esta campaña,
as we have been telling you throughout this campaign, all of the proceeds from the auction and the different ways to collaborate will go to fund educational projects in year 2022. There is approximately 2 hours left to donate and bid. I invite you to continue to do so. We're counting on all of you. Thank you so much for your support.
Thank you, Pablo. Well, thank you for your participation in this transmission. And yeah, there is just a couple of hours or a bit more left to participate in the auction that, like you said, is going to be closed at 10 p.m. in Uruguay and 9 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. We want to share with you the story of a very special person to us, and that person is Jasmine and her mother. And these stories shows us how we can really change lives by foundations like Fundación ReachingU, we really want to offer educational opportunities for them.
My name is Jasmine. I'm 17 years old. I attend high school 33 in La Cruz. This year I was thinking about quitting school because I go at night and it's very dangerous. So I was thinking about quitting and sitting for the exams in December and starting 5th year high school next year. My parents work as recyclers. They buy bottles and that kind of things. My parents started working when they were 10 years old. We work with a horse-drawn carriage. We wake up every morning, we take Alexis to school, and we work with the carriage. That's how we support ourselves. My parents tell me that they don't want me to go through the same things they went through working from a young age. And they want a good future for me. Right now I'm working at a recycling company. That's what I know how to do. I didn't have the opportunity to study anything else. For 20 years, Fundación ReachingU has supported organizations like Los Tréboles. I've been going to Los Tréboles for 5 years, and they're helping me to prepare for my exams in December. If I didn't have the tools to help her without Los Tréboles. In all honesty, I don't even know how to do long divisions. I only finished primary school. I didn't have my parents' support. They were in the same situation as me. Here in Los Tréboles, we work with a vulnerable population. And here they find joy, they find a place where they can study, where they can do recreational activities. Teenagers in this context, they have trouble projecting into the future. They have trouble talking about their hopes or their dreams because they live the day-to-day with their families. I had a moment in which I wanted them to drop everything and just keep working because we had to survive. I thought about it, but I never told that to my kids. We need to act now to keep thousands of young people from dropping out of school. The Global Online ReachingU campaign is back, and you can be a part of it.
Quiero seguir estudiando porque yo estoy
I want to keep studying because in the future I want to become a veterinarian. I love animals. Jasmine, I want to ask everyone who sees this video to help to support the Fundación ReachingU if you can. I would if I could. My kids are what they are thanks to the Fundación. Jasmine is my pride and joy. She exceeded my every expectation. From the 21st to October 28th, donate, bid, and engage. Go to www.raiseyourhandforeducation.org.
Bueno, llegó el momento de recibir.
Well, it's time to welcome our special guest. Sergio Fogel is co-founder and director of dLocal, a technology company that offers a payment platform for emerging economies. Last year, like I was saying, it became the first Uruguayan company to obtain a valuation of more than $1 billion, and this year it was listed on the New York Stock Exchange. Sergio is also co-organizer of Punta Tech Meetup and vice president of Endeavor Uruguay. He holds degrees from the Technion in Israel and INSEAD in France. He's also a very active angel investor. As I mentioned before, he will be talking with Beatriz Ponce de León, Director and Chief Strategy Officer of Arbusta, and also a member of the Board of Directors of Fundación ReachingU. Welcome and thank you for joining us.
Bueno, muchas gracias, Fer y Sergio.
Thank you so much, Fer. Welcome, Sergio. We're very happy that you're with us today and that you will be able to share your experiences, your thoughts with us. I would like to start by mentioning some other facts about you, apart from those already mentioned by Fernanda. Together with your life partner, Aline, you have settled a very nice family with your 3 kids, and you have always liked to be close to young people. So we know that your summer house was always a big meeting place for young kids, and this was also reflected in the teams of your ventures and in your businesses. So thank you again for being here, and focusing on dLocal, as Fernanda was mentioning, it hit a milestone in Uruguay's history by going public in New York. But of course, as an entrepreneur, the road traveled has been long. So we wanted to ask you, in other businesses, maybe you did well, some other times you didn't do so well. How did you take dLocal to where it is today? It's a very long story. Actually, I started my professional life working for IBM. And so I started as an entrepreneur relatively late. I was 37 years old. And so my first entrepreneurial business, it wasn't a failure, but we didn't do so well. And so on our second business as entrepreneurs, we did go well. So it was a learning curve. Together with Miguel, we funded a communications company, and we did well early on. Then we founded Shed Numbers together with Andres. Then we launched dLocal. It was a chain of entrepreneurial businesses, and from all of them we learned so much. Each of them different in their own way. Something that has been shared in every one of these businesses is that I always had a partner, which is something very important because it's very challenging to own a business. It's very important to have a partner to lift you up when you're depressed, and the other way around, when you're up there, you need a partner to tell you, wait, stop, let's not risk so much. So you need a good combination when you choose, and you need to choose a good partner. And my partners have always been very different from me, sometimes even very opposite to the way I am, but people I really respect, very hard workers that I respect so much. Okay, so you have a lot to share with us, and partners and complementing partners has been very important for you. Indeed, another thing that has been important for me is that we've always had a big gap age with my partners. My first partner was Aline, but beyond that, my next partner was Miguel, who is 11 years older, and then Andres is 15 years younger. And so that age gap has worked very well in general. One part has more experience, the other has more energy, one has more knows more people, and so you complement each other. So that's really worked, and I highly recommend it. So it's important to complement, to mix ages and ways of thinking. Thinking about dLocal, and what would you say were the main hallmarks, the moments that were key? Was it getting your first clients, investing, improving the product? What were the hallmarks that you recall?
Well, there's many. When we started with Astropay, which was the company in which dLocal was born. It was in 2009, 12 years. Some of the landmarks were very important. When we hired Seba, it was key for us. A very important moment was when the first big client that hired us was GoDaddy, and we thank them to this day. The person that hired us was just by email, cold email, and she's still in the company. We've invited her to Uruguay, but she doesn't have a passport, so she can't come, and she doesn't want to have a passport either. Then we had another important moment. That was the moment in which Eduardo Azar became a stockholder with his group. When we took General Atlantic as an investor, that was a great help, a great support, a validation of our work. And but on the other hand, it was a big responsibility for us. And then another moment that was important that we didn't realize at the moment that was important was when we announced that we had gotten the second investment of General Atlantic, and that's when we surpassed the $1 billion. And that was when the market started looking at us differently. We hadn't changed, but the market started looking at us differently. And of course, then going public, the IPO changed everything. Good. So it's not just how you see each other, but also the market and the influence that had and how that made you be important. The way the market sees you changes you, and also how clients see you, banks see you. Banks are very important strategic partners for us because what we do is we move money. So after our IPO, our relationship with banks became much simpler. It's much easier for us to open an account. We don't have to jump through so many hoops. You said that when Seba and Jacobo came into the company, it was very important. Now I know that you're around 600 employees and you have operations and commercial offices in several countries. If you compare the Uruguayan workforce with the workforce of other countries, what would you say are our strengths and what can we learn from other countries? I think that the biggest difference there is between Uruguay and other markets in regards to workforce is even though we have really good professionals that have tools, you get people that are more specialized in other countries. In Uruguay, someone that does server administration or cybersecurity, networks. If you go in a market like the United States or Brazil, big markets, you're going to find people that are very good in a very precise and specific topic. So they're specialized in, for example, security, or within security in just a very particular topic. We tend to be more generalistic in Uruguay. It's good and it's bad. It has its pros and cons. We need people that are more specialized today. But someone that has a general view can help you decide strategies and understand the customer. So we have good things and bad things. The level of the Uruguayan professionals is very good. And it's good to have someone that has been exposed to other markets, that has traveled, because we tend to look within. Talking about us being generalistic, what do you think is the skills that are sought today, particularly in Uruguay? It's changed. Everything has changed a lot. So what do you think is more valued today? Well, today in the world, there is a big demand for engineers and technical staff, engineers, people that know about marketing, online marketing, community managers, everything that has to do with technology, the demand is very high. So I would say that everyone's desperate to hire people that know about these things. The newer technologies is what we seek today. We seek people that know about artificial intelligence, user experience, everything that's new. Generally speaking, I would say that what we look for is attitude. People that have attitude to eat up the world, to learn, to go the extra mile. If I ask them to do something, they'll just not just do what I ask them, but go 2 steps beyond. And someone that's willing to get on a plane and just go solve problems or stay until the hour that we need them. That's what we value, because that's the people that make the difference, and that's what our clients see. They see that we answer fast, we solve problems, and those are the people that make a difference.
So speaking about attitude, and indeed it makes a huge difference. To be on the stock market, that meant playing in a whole different league. So besides from your attitude, there were a lot of challenges to be there, right? So what are the challenges in the future to stay there? So being there was really hard work. What takes 1 or 2 years, our team accomplished in 7 months. It was an enormous amount of work. And going public means a huge responsibility. We had to change our way of working. Things that we didn't planify as much had to be changed. You need to be very careful with what you say or you don't say, with how you handle your clients and which clients you accept. You need to be more professional. So it's a world that we are entering and adapting. We've been 6 months since we've gone public, so but it does allow us to think about many things that were impossible for us before. So we have a financial support which is way bigger than before, and the market is asking us to go for more, to continue to grow, and that's our plan. So speaking about ambitious projects, we know that beyond from dLocal, we know that you're a very active angel investor that helps entrepreneurial businesses. So how do you see Uruguay in that sense? Which are the areas more promising in our country? Since the pandemic, there's been a huge change worldwide. Mainly, for instance, we used to hire mainly in Uruguay. We were trying to open a development center elsewhere, and today we are hiring over the world. We have developers in Africa, Europe, Argentina. We have Uruguayan kids that have gone abroad to work from other countries for short stays. Today, it's way easier than before. Also, it's easier to hire other people, but I also need to compete with people from other parts of the world. So they come and they compete. They try to seek out my staff. So that's great for young workers. Because if they're good, they can work in Uruguay, they can open a startup, they can go anywhere in the world to work. So that's really important for young workers. They have way more opportunities. Another big change in the market that I have seen recently, for the first time in history, There is capital stock available, risk capital stock available, venture capital stock available. There are many companies that have received investments, important investments, and I know of many others that are on their way there. So our way of doing things, so calm, so quiet, it's changing. So a problem that we used to have, which was geographically we were far away. Now we're in Central Park. So you were saying, talking about opportunities and competition. Do you foresee any interesting project right now, or the projects you know of, you participate in? Everything that is fintech is very, very hard right now. There are many investors that are seeking for investing opportunities in fintech, software as a service, cybersecurity. Security is also very hot. Other areas like biology, biotechnology, I am very interested in. In Uruguay, it hasn't been developed. There has been some ideas, but it's very interesting. Multimedia is very interesting from the user perspective, and the link with technology, apps, games. In Uruguay, there's a lot happening that sometimes sometimes we're not even aware. There are some amazing video game companies that maybe we don't know about, but
I would like to finish with a question. Now that we're talking about opportunities, young people, we saw the video of Yasmin to be able to give them a chance to dream. And we know that Uruguay ranks last in a lot of things. There's the thing that worries us is the kids that actually finish high school. We are really ranked low, and we all have to do our bit to improve that. So we want to ask you, apart from the role of the state, what do you think companies should do? How can companies cooperate, or foundations like ReachingU can collaborate? Like we see here, almost 70% of young people don't finish high school in the proper time, and that calls us to action. Yes, it's a big topic. It's bigger than us, but we can give something to it, all of us. Companies, what's important that we do is that we transmit. The problem that we have is young people are not aware of the importance of education and the opportunities that someone that finishes school has. Today, you need to know English, and you need to know STEM tools. And kids sometimes are not aware of that, and they don't know that if they finish high school and have reasonably good grades in math, physics, they have great job opportunities, and they can make numbers that sometimes they can't even imagine. And that's hard for us to tell them and to really get to them. There is an initiative from the Kuti that's going to visit schools and just tell them, look, there's a lot of work. If we produce today 100,000 new engineers, they would all be absorbed in weeks in the workforce. You know, through Arbusta, the demand is infinite, but we're lacking in motivating these kids. There is a reason to finish. There's a way of being successful that is not just being a singer or a football player. Thank you, Sergio, for your time. We'll take that call for everyone to cooperate with education, with our young people that are really the future of our country. So we really have to be there for them. I think we're good with time. So Fer, thank you very much. Thank you. And thank you both, Bea and Sergio. It was very interesting. The interview and the conversation you had was very interesting. I want to thank Sergio for sharing the screen. Thank you and your family for supporting our campaign. And to those of you joining us on the broadcast, I remind you that you have time to bid until today at 10 p.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern Time, US Eastern Time, in the bid that's going to be open to that time. So I'm going to tell you good evening. Thank you very much. And because we have a birthday, there's a video celebrating our first 20 years.
20 years ago, a group of Uruguayan friends in the US had a dream to help their country despite being far away. That's how Fundación ReachingU was born, from the dream to form bridges to those who need them in Uruguay. 20 years later, the dream is still intact, but the road travel has taken us very far. We've created the Breast Milk Bank together with the Fundación Caldeiro Barcia. We organized the Teacher Prize with UNESCO. We developed the postgraduate in education. We've helped Liceo Jubilar, Liceo Francisco de Paysandú, and Anima, Bachillerato Tecnológico, amongst others. Today, we are a foundation who helps improve the education in the most vulnerable population in Uruguay. 75 organizations aided 66,000 kids and teenagers that have felt it, and more than
these past 20 years, what started as a group of friends' dream to help people in need became a foundation with global reach, with business in Montevideo, New York, and Miami, and activities in Punta del Este, Los Angeles, Madrid, Washington, D.C., and Zurich. Over these 20 years, we have brought together foundations, businesses, and individuals from all over the world, achieving a unique effort focused on education in Uruguay. We are ready to face the next challenges with a new image, but with our goal, our spirit still intact, to build a better future for thousands of Uruguayan children and teenagers. Thank you to our donors, volunteers, board members, artists, professionals, friends, and collaborators for making it possible. What moves us is the commitment to change lives. We are proud of the road we have done, and we are excited for what lies ahead. Fundación ReachingU, 20 years.
Ya pueden hablar, Fernando, así que...
Bueno, está genial, genial. ¿Salió todo bárbaro?
Todo bárbaro.
Dale. Bueno,
muy bien.
Pablo,
Felicitaciones,
bajamos
che.
que